All right, we are live today. I am going to be doing a stream today based on creating new or showing what visual effects and also post-processing and just showing what you can do in a new game that you're creating in Core. Sorry for this stilted start. Usually I do a starting screen, but then I end up editing it out later. So I just figured for today I would just get going and get started in this. I am going to just make sure I have everything posted. So let me just make sure it's all ready. Post that. All right. All right. So here we are on the, I'm going straight into the Core game building area. This is a game that I had, well, I mean, a game. It is, I was just showing how to create an environment in the last stream. And so I'm going to work from here to show some cool visual effects that you can do. And so let me move this. Sorry, I'm just making sure I've got everything all taken care of here. All right. So the first thing that I wanted to jump into, and you've seen this a lot. I'm just going to show off the waterfall effect, which is actually kind of cool. And let's go into core content. So when you call up the core content, visual effects are all under one tab here, and there's a whole ton of them. I will try to go through as many of these as possible to kind of show off what you can do with a lot of them. You can always just do a search if there's a particular thing that you're looking for, like if you want an explosion or, something along those lines. In this case, I'm doing waterfall. It's alphabetical, so I'm just going to go with one of these. I'm going to go with the curved one right here. And now one thing you can always do is just dock this, and you can drag the window and then dock it in your actual viewing area. The reason I tend to not do that is I have two monitors, so I normally put all the core content on the other monitor and then I can work with that. But for a single monitor, this is one of the easier ways to do it so that you always have it. Maybe I'll stick it down here so I can still see event log and still see this. This is kind of how I have things set up in Unity when you have your assets down below and then your hierarchy for what's in the game on the side. So now that I have it here, let's go for waterfall. And you just drag it into the scene. And there it is. Very simple waterfall. Actually, let's move it to... I moved it out all the way over there, but let's put it where I actually spawn. All right. Because I did create a bunch of enemy spots. I don't want to have to walk through those. All right, so let's put that here. And so very simple. If you have a cliff, and you can just see, you can throw it on the cliff and then you have a nice little waterfall. It's, very simple to just drag and drop into your scene and make something like this. You can also change the sizes to make things bigger. But one of the cool things about these visual effects, it doesn't necessarily have to be water. It can also be used to show different things. Like, let's say you wanted, let's undo what I just did, and let's duplicate, let's make a few of these. And we're going to move it, let's rotate it. I just want to do a couple to show this. All right. So you have a few. Let's just work with two right now. and you want to change material, you can make it, like this, and then you get this shape. If you're building something or kit bashing, it's kind of cool. You can throw this on things. It gets rid of the visual effect, but it's another way to get shapes and stuff. For colors, in here, if you want to make it a brighter color, like, a bright green, or let's go with hot pink for this, just to show off how bright. You can do this with them both selected. Let's rotate. Let's go down. This could also be something like you use for hair on a creature, kind of flows. You can get, there's a lot of things you can do with these, to make it different, spikes coming out of the ground, like a magic area or something like that. You can also, again, using this trick in this area, in the value area, you can go with a high setting, like let's go with 33. And then you drag the new color up here. Let's see if that worked. Yeah, and then you get a very bright, glowing magic area that you can walk into with your character. Just let's say let's pretend I did a full circle around there. So there's a lot of things you can do with the different visual effects to make it not just a waterfall, but just go and play around with it. And let's say we change this one to a bright blue. Drag it up here, select it, hit OK. And then we have a bright blue and bright, and you can go with kind of a 4-color thing. There's a lot of things you can do with these instead of just using it the standard way, like waterfall, you just see waterfall. But, you can kind of be creative with a lot of these. And if you also, a trick you can do, if you like the color you chose here and you don't want to have to find it again for another one, you can go to here and just copy the parameter and then click on the other one, and you can then just paste the parameter. And this goes for pretty much every single item in the game, like all of these positions, rotation, scale. So if you want to match, you can just copy the settings from those and then paste them into the other item. So this is, just kind of a cool thing that you can do. And also just kind of a quick shortcut if you find an effect that you really like and you want to just paste it into more things at once. You can highlight them all and then just hit right click, paste in the parameter, and then you're good to go. All of them will have changed. So that's waterfall. That's just a single one of these visual effects. So let's look at, here's a basic explosion. Let's throw that on here. And when you move it, it will show it. It won't go off constantly. There's some scripting involved that you can do to have it trigger. Let me see if we see the explosion constantly. Yeah, it only goes off once. But in here, you can do autoplay. And let's see, looping. So you can hit loop. And this way you can just have something constantly exploding. And you can, let's see, set priority, initial start delay. You can have a delayed start so that it's not constantly exploding. It will just, let's move that a little bit. Loop duration, 1 second. Let's move that to 2. So a 2-second loop delay, and it looks a little bit different that way. And you can do the same thing with the colors. You can make this, this, if you want to use like a flashbang, for example, it'll brighten the entire area. you know, rather than just use the normal explosion. You can do this, and this is how a lot of the other creators are doing this with their games for explosions and visual effects. And so light brightness, let me see, how bright can you make this? It is interesting with the delay. So let me play around with this a little bit. So right, and there you go with a no delay. It is, there you go. It is just a constant explosion. And so, you know, this is, if you want to do like a nuclear blast and blind your players, this is a good way to do it. So let's tone this down a bit so that we aren't staring into the sun. Actually, here what I'll do is I'll just change the loop. Let's put it back to like the full, and let's change the color to something a little bit less obscene. So something yellow. All right. So let's go. Let's do the next. So you've seen a lot of, you know, you've probably played a bunch of games and you've seen visual effects. Again, you can do, you know, this is just a simple water splash. I'm going to, should I hide? I'll hide this for now. I'm going to keep it there. We're going to move this over here. The reason I'm going to keep the explosion rather than just deleting is I do want to show the effect of post-processing, what it does to things like that. So for this is just a simple splash. Again, we'll do looping so that we can kind of see it. But this is where, for example, if you have a character running on water and you want to show a splash, you can put the effect on the trail of the player. That's getting a little bit involved in the whole what's the word I'm looking for? The whole programming of it all. And so one good place to go if you have questions about creating this is the core Discord for creators. You can get to it through the website. There's a link so that you can join the Discord, and it is extremely helpful. I should probably put it. I'll put these. I'll see if I can put these links in the description below. And also, if you haven't already, please subscribe. It really helps my channel out. Liking the video, that also really helps. It will help me grow. I thank everyone who's done that already. It's been very helpful. I'm just now starting out. It's been a long time since I've streamed or created anything. So as far as back to this, again, you know, you can think outside the box. A lot of these visual effects, if you just think outside the box, you can create some very cool things. So I'm going to make this as big as I can. Not big as I can, obviously, but, you know, this is just a water splash. And again, let's change the color to that bright. And you can create like visual effects, like in this case, you know, kind of an explosion that goes out. Let's say someone gains a power or someone levels up, and you can trigger this kind of blinding effect. You know, you probably don't want to go as extreme, but the reason I'm showing it as this extreme is to just show. And you can play around with these settings and see what they do. And so particle scale, and it was at 1, so this is what we were looking at. Let me increase it a lot. That is interesting. It goes way out. Let's see how far out it goes. So, like if you're looking down on a map. Oh, wow, okay. The distance. This is really testing my computer. Putting it that high. So let's put it down back to about where it was. The loop is set to that. Again, you can go, you know, this can be an effect. You just play with these numbers and think outside the box from what's there. and you can create some pretty cool animations with the effects that they give you. This is just the simple water splash. So it's not, you know, you're not limited to just using it. You see this water splash here. All right, I don't need that. But, you know, in this case, you can play around with it. Let's look at another effect that could, here we go. You know, this, you've probably seen this in a few games. It's just, I believe this is used when you're in farmer's market. And, you know, one thing I haven't checked, and if anyone is in the stream and can let me know if my sound is okay, usually I check that. And let me just, it sounds fine. All right. What's my volume at? All right, good. All right. So, like when your pumpkins are ready in farmer's market, you have your visual effect of this nice little sparkle. Again, you don't have to, you know, leave it as, you can do a much wider area to have the sparkles fill, you know. And let's see, emissive boost is set to 5. Let me see what happens if I increase it. It doesn't seem to have, let's see, the life. These will then last longer, each particle. Let's see, it's set to 10. So setting it smaller, let's make it, I guess 10 is the largest density. This is where if you want a whole bunch in the area, you can make this, you know, do a large scale area. I don't recommend, because I did try this with a few other ones. It's better to do multiples of this in spots you need rather than taking up a very large area, because it will be extremely intensive on your video card. So, and then gravity, this will pull them higher or have them fall. So you can play around with this again. You can have it rain stars, for example. This can be used in conjunction with an explosion, for example, and have the cinders fall down in this color. And again, you're not stuck with that color. Let's go with this, and then you have falling stars or falling pink stars. You know, you can go that route also. You're not limited to what it gives you initially. That's the main thing I want to show today. You play around with these effects and you can get something that's very cool. These parts don't require any programming. I'm just doing the settings in the UI. Parts that do require some, you know, if you want it to happen on as an effect of something else to tie it in, it is better to use some programming to get these things. But my main focus today is to just show what can be done, so that you get more ideas on what you can create. So let me go back to this. All right. So, all right. So the next thing I wanted to show, you know, there's also confetti. And again, each thing has an effect. This one, you can't necessarily change the color. It's already rainbow. And you've seen this one. This one's used a lot in different games for celebrating leveling up or whatever. And you can make them gigantic if you want, you know, just paper falling. With a longer life, maybe, and then a whole ton. And then you can run through paper. Oh, I left all my explosions. So there should be an explosion, and then, you know, you're stuck in paper. Oh, I did have it looping. That's interesting. It kind of stopped. So it does have a life on it, and it gets denser and just kind of cool. The different visual effects you can do in the game. When you mess around with things, you are not stuck with the initial thing that it gives you. So, all right. So then, let's check out fire. Or maybe if there's a different explosion. Let's see. This is the fireball. Is that the one I used already? Which one did I use? I used a basic explosion. So this is the explosion fireball. So something a little different. One thing I saw today in one of the games that won the I'm pretty sure they used this when defeating an enemy, but then they used kind of a gray color. I'm gonna see if I can get that. And so if you go with this, let's go with more of a gray with a transparent. It's still showing a little yellow, but again, you can change the size. Let's make it a little, let's make it wider. I was pretty sure this is what they used. And so what you can do, let's do this boost. You can make it look like a gray cloud. Secondary color, smoke color. Let's go with this. Make it gray. So it is keeping its initial kind of green color to it, and that could be because, no, I just wanted to see if it was the ground. So again, we can go with the bright. There we go. That's one way to do it. So if you want like a smoke explosion, it's a fireball, but because you can change the colors, you can do kind of a smoke explosion kind of deal here. And then there you go. It's just kind of like that. So, and again, I'll say the main purpose of me showing you all these is to show what you can do. And there are just a ton of things that I'm probably not even going here with here. Let's see the loop duration. And let's make it small and see if we can get that constant. Yeah. So again, if you program in something and you just, you know, this could be used for like an animal warming up to run, and you know it's scraping its feet on the ground and you have this constant smoke coming out. Just an idea for something you can do with that. I'm not sure what you can do with this, but you know, you can be creative and do things. You can also add these to when you're creating like an enemy or something like that. These can be added on as kind of an aura, and it would actually work as part of that. Like for example, if I took the car, for example, let's put the confetti. Let's put it on the hood, the instance. Let's move it and let's put it on the car. Let's keep it there. All right, and then we are going to update template. Let's see. So now if I get in the car, it should drive with the confetti. Yeah, so because I made it part of the car, the confetti is now, as you can see, it is, I'd have to change the loop, but it does go along with it. All I did was add it to the car as part of the geo area and put it on top, and you drive around and you have a trail of confetti. So you can do this with any effect. Let's combine them. Let's put... so we have the confetti as a tail. Let's do the explosion that we just did, this fireball. Let's put it here. Oh, the instance. I don't know if I have to... Oh, wait. I should actually move it. So here's where you can use like position, for example. And I'm going to copy the position of the confetti. I'm going to go to the explosion kit and I'm going to paste the position, and it should now be right in the same spot. So now the confetti and the explosion are in the same place. So now when I'm driving along, you can see the smoke is, since I made it constant, it's now smoke and confetti are now driving along with the car. All I did was make it part of the vehicle itself. And so, you know, this is just to show you can do this with any characters, enemies, vehicles, anything you want to add. You know, it's part of the kit bashing thing. You just add things in to make it a single thing, and you can add visual effects to it. Let's move both of those out. Let's say you wanted to go with something normal rather than what we have here. I'm going to move this over here. All right, so let's find Blizzard. Let's say you wanted some, maybe, just some particles coming out of your car. They already do this with, I'm going to just move it. Let's put it on here. Let's go up here. So now this is Blizzard. And so now if I drive, this is just the simple. So when you move, let's say you have a car and you're driving through the snow and you want this effect on your car. You know, just kind of a cool thing. I wonder why the wheels are spinning like that. And, you know, that's not quite enough. So let's go and let's make it a little bit emissive boost. Oh, that's to make it brighter. Okay. Life will make it last a little longer. Density, make it a little bit. Let's make it smaller though. And I want it to be. And you can do wind direction now, so it always blows in the same direction. That is a brand new thing. Let's see. I like the size, maybe a little bit larger. Density, I want it to be way, way, way up. There we go. So now when you're driving, again, you can activate this through programming so it's not constant, but you can see how now there's a trail of snow. And so if you have your car driving through snow, you can have this programmed in so that, you know, when you're moving, or just keep it on all the time, that would be fine too. Just pretend it's just, you know, always there. But, you know, all I did was drag the effect onto the car, position it, and it will do this effect. And I did the emissive boost so that it would be very bright. And again, just like with everything else, you can click on Blizzard Volume, you can go with this, and you can go with this, and you have this bright, sparkly trail that whenever you drive your car, you have a bright, sparkly trail that always goes behind you. So kind of a magic car, that emissive boost thing. And this is just using Blizzard. Again, you can take any of these effects and change it to your heart's desire, and kind of come up with something new and cool that's different that you haven't seen in anyone else's game. It's just something, the tools here are very powerful for what you can do without having to program. Just change the sliders and you can get something that's just really neat and cool that you can use. So let's check the next thing. So I did Blizzard. And I mean, there are a ton. I'm going to take this out. I can't, can I? I can do a window over here. There we go. And that's huge. Let's put it over here. Hopefully this doesn't break things. Whoops. All right, let's move it over here. So as you can see, there's a ton of effects. It would take me a very long time to go through. So I invite you all to try this when making a game, to go through these different effects and see what you can do with them. I mean, there's a ton here, and they can all be manipulated to exactly what you want. It's pretty cool, just with the tools they give you, and I can't say that enough. It's just mind blowing, a lot of that. So, and they even divide it up into things like, here's the hearts volume for character, environmental, if you want those, explosion kit, and you have all sorts of different explosions. And that's what kind of makes it cool. You can find, like, I just did the fireball trying to get the kind of cloud effect that I saw today, but they probably use something kind of like that. Just, I didn't like that kind of greenish color that was coming off of it, but there's probably one that they used to get that effect when an enemy was defeated. I can't remember the game, but I saw it today in the live stream when they were announcing winners for the Invitational. So the next thing I'm going to move on to is post-processing. There's only a few here, not nearly as many effects. These will change the look of your game. If you, for example, if you really like how it looks when you play Farmer's Market, because it has that kind of Borderlands feel with the outline and the colors. What they're using there is this advanced sketch line. Let me close this. I'm just going to throw these into the hierarchy directly. So I'm going to use, and it's called Advanced Sketchline Post Process, and you drag it into there. And so the default, I'll close this, is, this outline thing. It's kind of cool just by itself when you're running around. Here's something I did do, is I tested to see what effects worked. As you can see, a lot of the effects are not working. Like, you don't see the blizzard. That is not an effect that works, but explosions do work with this post-processing. Different things work in the different post-processing things, so not all the effects work. But if you want to do what they did in Farmer's Market, you change the alpha. So the base setting for alpha is at 1. It's a color. It makes it look like paper. So if you wanted it to look more like, your game is drawn on a old sheet of paper, you would choose a color like this. And then there you go. You have your game drawn, on a piece of paper. And this can be kind of cool if you want to go with this. But the way to make it look more like a farmer's market or a Borderlands is you can bring that alpha down to 0 for the background. And then there you go. This is your outline. And then the effects all work. And now everything has that kind of outline feel to it. So it's a very different look. This is all done through the sketchline post-processing. Get rid of the background, make it alpha 0, and you can do this. And so if you want to make the lines thicker, because they're set to 1, let's make it 2. So it's a little more, like, it's really obvious now. Everything has a much thicker outline to it. Just kind of cool. And the mountains in the background are now using that also. So just kind of a cool thing. Something you can also do if you only want a certain area of your game to change, you can, let's copy this, let's duplicate. And where is it? There it is. Let's move this over here. That way. Just move it past the explosion. And for this, you can do unbounded. If enabled, this volume will affect the entire level, but you can do it just right here. And for this, I'm going to bring the background back. And so I'm going to leave blend radius at 100. So when you walk over, it was beyond this explosion. As you get closer to the post-processing effect, it's not. All right, where are you? You are right here. Let's bring you up. Let's do priority. I wonder if it needs to be lower priority or higher. We'll override another if they are overlapping. Let's make this 1. Does not seem to be affecting it. Let's do radius 200. Maybe because it's the same. I've done this before. Let's see, visible in preview. Okay, 1 is not going to work, so let's do 7. Interesting. I'm not sure which, if it goes with lower number has the priority or higher number has the priority, but here I am. Oh, is that seriously doing? I don't need the stand on it, do I? No. Okay. So, well, that's a fail. That is interesting. I guess because it is the same exact. Okay, let me. Okay, so even hiding it, let's delete it altogether. Let's go up this. Let's make this. There we go. Oh, interesting. Wonder why it needs to be so high. Okay. Let's go a little lower. Oh, interesting. Okay. Huh. All right. Well, let's undo. Bring the other one back. It was because this was not high enough. There we go. Weird. All right. So now when we run, sorry about that, this is what you'll go through when you are testing things. And as you can see, it totally doesn't work. Fantastic. It worked in preview a second ago, and now it's not even working in preview. That's so weird. All right. And putting it a lower number is not. Well, anyway, you're going to have to trust me on this. When you do a volume, let's change. Since I'm doing the exact same thing, I think that probably, let's do a different post-processing. Let's do bloom. And we're going to bring bloom over here. If I can. There we go. Oops. All right. So now bloom is over here. And we're going to do unbounded. And that should be blend radius. Let's increase it. And so we're going to make, let's just go with this. Okay. So now when I hit play, as I get closer to that, it should do this. This is just something you can play around with again. And it's not, oh, there we go. Interesting. I was only doing it in one direction. There. So I'm going to have to play around with the radius a bit. It seems to be very particular. I'm probably missing. Let's change the threshold. Size, scale, priority. All right. Blend radius. Defines the blend radius in world units. Its blend extends beyond the volume by this amount. Oh, You know what it is? It's because I need to make this larger. That is why. And that's probably what was going on with the other one. I didn't realize. I thought it just automatically extended. But as you walk closer to where I put it, you'll then see this is how you'll do, like, this is how people do, like, dream effects when you're walking and then you're in that. So post-processing, putting it in a volume. The thing I didn't do was I didn't resize the actual bounding box. That was kind of silly of me. I'm sure anyone who's in the know watching this is probably going crazy saying you need to make it larger, you dumbass. That's me the dumbass. So so as you walk into it, you know, this is how you can create some cool post-processing effects in your level when you're walking kind of blind, you know, make it harder for the player to maneuver through things. Like saying if you're doing like a jumping puzzle, you can then have parts where you can just kind of see the items and have them jump, you know, just as an idea for a game. Just you know, again, you can play with these post-processing effects the same as you can play with the other effects. You can combine effects. So for example, you have the line drawing already going on here that is level wide, and then you can go to core content, post-processing. Let's do there's a fog one. I'm going to do fog if I can find, you know, this is where I can't find it. I'll just type in fog. Environmental fog adjustment. Let's do environmental fog. And let's drop this one in too. All right. See if there's anything else I need. There is not. Okay. So environmental fog effect, fog density. Let's make it a whole lot. Fall off. Don't want it to do that. Start, end. Opacity, volumetric. I don't want volumetric, or do I? Don't think. Maybe I do. It does have a nice effect. Let me get rid of that. Okay. And so I want to make it really kind of a thick fog. I'm just playing with every single number to see what I need to do here. Color, let's make it, what if I do this? It's kind of interesting. Let's go with more of a yellow. Well, maybe more of a black. There we go. I'm also trying to see if I can get the spotlights to show, because usually when you're using a fog volume, you can get it to look like, you know, the visual spotlight. Let's move this closer. Make it larger. And fog density, I'm going to go inside of it. Fall off. Start, end. Okay, well, I'd have to play around with this more. I did, let's see, beam view direction, view distance. I'm going to go to another level I created to show what you can do with the volumetric fog. But as you can see, I did line drawing and then I changed the fog, you know, and almost looks like you have a cool moon effect now. This is just a regular, actually maybe not the regular. What is the, it is the regular default side, the default sky. And it looks kind of like the moon. You can make it look like a different planet with this. So I did the volumetric fog with a black color with the lines, and you have this kind of neat effect now. Let me see if this does anything walking in here. Nope. And so now it's just this kind of cool effect that you have combining the post-processing. So you can just take a whole bunch and just make your level look artistically the way you want. You could play around with these for hours. I mean, I could literally do this for hours, but I doubt you will watch the entire video if it were hours long. So it's just kind of cool what you can do with this stuff. Let's go here. So, oh, and hey, Cameron. Thank you for coming to the stream. Sorry I didn't see your chat earlier. Yeah, you can tell it's live when I'm going through making mistakes, trying to figure out how to do the different things. But I did do. I'm trying to figure out how to get the spotlight to show, but I have done it before. So I'm going to save this. Also, save more frequently than I do. I always forget, and you do not want to have it crash. It's just bad. And so I'm going to go back to the. So here is what I did on this level. I used the spotlight to shine through the trees to get kind of the effect of sunbeams. So I used a fog volume and spotlights to kind of get that immersive feel. So if you're going through trees and the woods and you want to have this kind of cool effect of the sun shining through, how it's done is you can use a spotlight with the fog, and using those two things, the fog volume and the spotlight effect, it will show the kind of sunbeams going through, and you can have multiple spotlights if you want. This was just kind of me fooling around and testing it. But the main thing you want to do is to make sure that the spotlights are behind leaves, because if they aren't, then it will just be kind of a spotlight on the ground. So for example, like that, see, it was just a circle. But if you put it behind the leaves, then it looks more realistic. And you also want to make sure your points of light are coming from like a sun source. So you don't want to have them parallel. You definitely want to have them kind of perpendicular so that, you know, they're coming from the sun. Not quite that extreme, but you play around with it until it looks right to you. And then you can have your players running through woods with these sunbeams, or maybe even moonbeams if you want some kind of thing for nighttime. And, you know, I do the effect, and this was just me playing around with my game that I created, my racing game. But this also uses spotlights on these drones, and you can see the fog volume. It works pretty well in here. So this works if you do like a nighttime effect or something like that. It will do this. So with that, I am going to wrap up the stream. Sorry for, you know, as I go through and do these things live, you know, there's hiccups, but as you're playing around with it, you will run into the same things I do where you're playing with the settings. I could play with these visual effects for hours and hours to get the exact right thing. So I hope, you know, playing with these inspires you to create some cool looking games, cool looking effects. You can find an effect and realize, oh, I'm going to build a game around this. It's something I have in my head that I've already found some visual effects that I want to use. So I might try to do the same thing. So based on an idea I got just from playing around with the effects. So I hope this video has inspired you, instructional in any way. Please leave a like or subscribe. That would be awesome. Thank you for watching the video, and I will see you next time. So let me make sure this is all good. All right, I'll see you next time. Thank you.